Loki steps forward, his emerald cloak billowing in the dim glow of the ruined citadel. Thanos stands in the distance, his immense presence casting an ominous shadow. Loki spins his dagger lazily. What brings you to this forsaken place, Titan? Seeking another trinket for your gauntlet? Thanos' eyes narrow. You know why I'm here, Loki. Stand aside. Loki smirks. Oh, but where's the fun in that? Loki raises his hand, and a shimmer of green energy crackles through the air. Within seconds, multiple versions of himself appear around Thanos, each one mirroring his smug expression. Come now, Titan. Surely you enjoy a challenge? Thanos exhales slowly, unimpressed. Without hesitation, he swings his arm, unleashing a powerful shockwave that tears through the illusions, dispersing them instantly. Loki, the real one, watches carefully from the shadows, waiting for his next move. Thanos clenches his fist, sensing the deception. Enough games, Loki. His gauntlet glows faintly as he slams his foot down, causing the ground to tremble. Loki barely has time to react as the force of the impact sends shockwaves outward, disrupting the terrain. He swiftly teleports away, reappearing atop a nearby broken pillar, smirking. Tisk, tisk. So impatient. You really should try to enjoy the moment. Loki flicks his wrist, summoning a dagger imbued with glowing green magic. Let's see how you handle something a little more personal, he muses, hurling the blade straight at Thanos. The dagger slices through the air, but just before it reaches its target, it vanishes, reappearing behind Thanos, aimed at his back. Thanos, however, anticipates the trick and catches the weapon midair, crushing it effortlessly in his palm. Predictable, he mutters. Thanos raises his hand, and the ground beneath Loki shifts violently. Massive chunks of debris levitate, drawn upward by an unseen force. Loki leaps between them with effortless agility, narrowly avoiding a large boulder that nearly crushes him. Really, Thanos? Throwing rocks? I expected something a bit more original, he quips. But his smirk fades as Thanos, with a mere flick of his fingers, turns the floating debris into razor-sharp projectiles, sending them hurtling toward Loki. Loki's eyes widen as the razor-sharp projectiles whistle through the air toward him. With a flick of his fingers, a shimmering green barrier forms in front of him just in time. The impact sends ripples of energy through the shield, dispersing most of the shards, but one cuts through, leaving a thin red line across his arm. He clenches his teeth, his expression turning from amusement to mild irritation. Ah, Thanos, that was uncalled for, he mutters, stepping back. The ground beneath him trembles, warning him of the Titan's next attack. Before Thanos can capitalize on his advantage, Loki vanishes in a swirl of emerald mist, reappearing on a jagged rock formation above. He cradles his arm briefly, inspecting the wound with a frown before sighing dramatically. Alright, I'll admit, you have an impressive throwing arm. Thanos, unfazed, lifts a massive boulder and hurls it toward Loki. At the last second, Loki disappears again, leaving only a shimmering afterimage. He reappears behind Thanos, whispering mockingly, "Missed me." Loki takes a moment to analyze the battlefield. The ruins around them are old, the structures unstable. A mischievous glint flickers in his eyes. Time to even the odds, he mutters. He taps his scepter against the ground, sending ripples of green energy outward. Thanos steps forward, but the ground beneath him shifts, crumbling away into a swirling vortex. Oh dear, I do hope you can swim through dimensions, Loki taunts. But Thanos merely grunts and stomps his foot, breaking the magic apart before it fully takes hold. Loki doesn't wait for the dust to settle. He darts forward, dagger in hand, aiming for Thanos' exposed side. But Thanos reacts faster than expected, his massive hand catching Loki mid-strike. Loki winces, but his smirk remains. Clever, he mutters. Before Thanos can tighten his grip, Loki lets the dagger slip from his fingers, only for it to reappear in his free hand, aimed at Thanos' back. Yet again, the Titan is prepared, shifting just enough for the blade to miss by inches. Loki vanishes in a flicker of green light, reappearing a few feet away. He twirls his dagger between his fingers, eyes glinting with mischief. You're predictable, Titan, he taunts. But Thanos merely steps forward, undeterred. Loki taps his fingers against his temple, and suddenly, dozens of illusions of himself materialize around the battlefield, each mimicking his movements. Thanos narrows his eyes, scanning for the real one. Thanos swings his arm through one of the illusions, watching as it vanishes in a ripple of energy. Another disappears, then another. He grunts, unimpressed. Tricks won't save you, trickster. Loki leans casually against a rock, watching. Oh, but they're so fun. Suddenly, one of the illusions lunges forward with a dagger, this one solid. Thanos reacts quickly, catching the blade, but it vanishes in a puff of smoke. Loki reappears at a distance, chuckling. Thanos grows tired of the illusions. With a powerful stomp, the ground shakes violently, disrupting the magical projections. Most of the illusions flicker out, revealing Loki standing a few feet away, arms crossed. Well, that's hardly fair, Loki muses. Thanos wastes no time, charging at him. At the last second, Loki flicks his wrist, opening a shimmering portal beneath himself. As Thanos reaches him, Loki drops through the portal, disappearing once more. Loki's portal reopens, right above Thanos. With a flick of his wrist, Loki hurls several glowing daggers downward. The Titan raises an arm, deflecting most, but one manages to graze his shoulder. Loki lands gracefully behind him, rolling into a stance. Even gods should keep their eyes on the sky, he quips. Thanos turns slowly, eyes narrowed. Thanos has had enough. With a powerful backhand, he sends a shockwave outward, forcing Loki to teleport once more. But this time, Thanos is ready. The moment Loki reappears, Thanos reaches out, grabbing him mid-air. Loki struggles, twisting in his grasp. You rely too much on tricks, Thanos growls, tightening his grip. Loki grimaces but chuckles. And yet, they seem to be working. Loki grits his teeth as Thanos' grip tightens around his torso. His ribs feel like they're about to snap under the pressure. Alright, you win. Let's just shake on it, shall we? Loki's fingers twitch subtly, and a small burst of green light erupts between them. The momentary distraction is all he needs. His body flickers, slipping out of Thanos' grasp as if he were made of mist. He reappears several feet away, panting slightly. That was rather rude, he mutters, rolling his shoulders as if shaking off an uncomfortable embrace. Thanos, unfazed, turns toward him with slow, deliberate steps. Loki raises a hand, and suddenly, the battlefield changes. The ruins around them flicker and twist, transforming into an endless void of swirling green and gold light. Thanos pauses, scanning his surroundings. Illusions again? He mutters. Loki grins, standing atop an invisible platform in the shifting void. Well, if you're so bored, why don't we make things interesting? With a snap of his fingers, multiple versions of himself appear, each one standing on separate floating platforms, some closer, some further away. Let's play a game. Which one is real? Thanos doesn't waste time guessing. Instead, he slams his fists together, sending a powerful shockwave rippling through the void. The force distorts reality, shattering several illusions instantly. Some locusts flicker and disappear, but a few remain, smirking confidently. Thanos narrows his eyes, then lunges toward the nearest one. Loki dodges at the last second, but Thanos had anticipated it. His other hand swings in a brutal arc, catching Loki midair and sending him crashing into a distant platform. Loki groans, slowly getting to his feet. His illusions are fading. This fight is reaching its climax. Thanos moves toward him, relentless. Loki sighs dramatically. You know, brute force is terribly dull. As Thanos reaches him, Loki flicks his wrist, conjuring a final, desperate illusion. Himself, appearing utterly defeated. Thanos smirks and reaches for him, only to find his hands closing around empty air. The real Loki stands behind him, his dagger pressed lightly against the Titan's back. Checkmate, he whispers. Thanos doesn't flinch. Instead, he smirks. You think this is victory? With a sudden burst of strength, he spins around, knocking Loki away before the dagger can strike. Loki tumbles backward, rolling to his feet just in time to see Thanos looming over him once more. The fight isn't over yet. Loki wipes a trickle of blood from his lip, taking a deep breath. His illusions are spent, his magic drained. Thanos, towering over him, clenches his fists. You fought well, but it ends now. Loki smirks, eyes gleaming with something unreadable. Oh, I quite agree. Just as Thanos moves to strike, Loki whispers an incantation under his breath. The air around them shimmers, and suddenly, the battlefield itself begins to warp. Time slows. Space bends. Thanos frowns, his movements sluggish. What? Loki grins, stepping backward into the swirling energy. I never intended to win. Just to make sure you didn't. The distortion collapses, and in an instant, Loki vanishes, leaving Thanos standing alone in a fractured, shifting void.